This is sort of a serious video, but it's not Black history. So this is not Black history. Growing up and you start to exhibit traits of your parent, and one parent or the other parent is like, I can see where they got that from. Or you see that, if maybe it's not your parents that identify that trait, but regardless, you see where they got that from. Let's see where they got that from. Time period. I'm going to set the time period because it's important that we all go there together. The time is 1615. King James VI of Scotland, who is also King James I of England. And if you're like, I don't know that man, you do, your grandmama, somebody knows him. He has a very popular take on the Bible. In 1615, if we could set the stage of what's happening globally, are people under King James's rule that have immigrated to this land that they think they found. But people were here, but they immigrated here. We're going down, right? So people were leaving England, or people here. It's important that we know all of the context, right? So during this time, because this is not about what's happening here, what's going on. We're focused on not Black history. During this time, crime in England began as well. And as the problem got worse and worse, the answer that, King James and all of his kingdom decided that he was going to send convicts to the colonies. You know what the colonies, most people don't know what the colonies are, but we are in the colonies, what were once the colonies. So now some things should be closing for you. What English people were sending their convicts to this land that they also deemed the people leaving England to come here and find this new land and start this new land. They also deemed these people criminals. Now, these people are still here. These people. And so they got here as immigrants, and then James decided, if the criminals are leaving to go to the colonies, I'm just going to send all of the people that we deem criminals to essentially Maryland. The colonialists were not really into this at all. By 1697, now we started at 1615. By 1697, the colonialists had started to block the ports of entry. No ships, weren't really letting they were letting ships in. We know who. England didn't give a damn because Parliament then passed the Transportation Act of 1718. Came up with a more systemic way to export convicts. That sounds familiar because it seems like there's a world power that is into or getting into the exporting convict business. But instead of relying on merchants, the government did not, people were not volunteering to take this trek and be, denied. And then the British government solved that by essentially subsidizing this process and giving contracts. Within a short period of time, over 52,000 convicts were shipped to the colonies. When they got here, and the people didn't want them here, right? They were either unskilled or skilled. If they were skilled, they went to the fields. They went to agriculture, tobacco fields. And if they were unskilled, they became like iron workers and things like this. But the kicker here, these people, these British people were sent here. They were deported essentially here to this land. 52,000 of them at one time, which means there were thousands of them before then. They could be purchased for less than an indentured white servant or an African slave laborer. So if you're following along, this wasn't about race yet. These were convicts that were deported, became less than people that were already less than. And mind you, these people are less than before there's even a constitution to say that these people are less than. But this is not about Black history. This is non-Black history. These people existed outside of the rules that were set in society. There was not a country here. There were separate government. At the time, Virginia continued to try to pass laws so that England would not do this. And the crown won each time. There's a line. There are some connections. There is something going on here. Or you have to believe that DNA is real. The component that allows this type of thinking to be pervasive. Now, this did not stop until the American Revolution. So we're talking 1615, 1775. Over a century, the last boat of convicts arrived around 1776 along the James River. Now, these convicts were not coming here to necessarily serve life sentences. It's like we're paying El Salvador to house these people. I mean, there was no payment here, but you see what I'm saying. And these people were on average serving sentences of 7 to 14 years. Because these people were considered other, less than, not a part of society, post conviction, they kind of spread through the colonies and just tried to blend in. The rest of them back to Great Britain. There's a lot here, and this is not Black history.